Hi, this is Jackie Grant and this is Scott Wolf, and we're here for InsideSoCal.com/USC. And let's talk a little bit about the Washington game. Scott, what happened there?
Well, maybe we shouldn't talk about it. The way it turned out and the way USC played on defense, there wasn't a lot of good stuff to talk about. The tackling was really bad in that game. The play calling probably was a little suspect at the end of the game. I know a lot of fans are livid right now about the fact they passed the ball on 3rd and 4 at the 23 and then kicked a field goal instead of just giving the ball to Alan Bradford a couple times, try and get a first down and run out the game. The secondary, I think, has a confidence problem right now because they got torched by Jake Locker and then they missed a lot of tackles. So this week in practice, they're talking a lot about being confident, just trying to forget last week, playing with a lot of energy. So, when you're kind of at USC as a football player, you're kind of in a bubble, and what goes on the outside you don't hear about all the time. So you can ignore a lot of the criticism and stuff if you just stay off the internet. So I think they're okay mentally in that regard. They can bounce back. But, physically, are they going to be able to bounce back? Playing a team like Stanford, maybe the best team, outside of Oregon in the Pac-10. And then the other question is, will Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator, have something to offer other than last week when it didn't look like he had anything to offer schematically?
We seem to be lacking a playmaker on our defense. Unlike on offense, Alan Bradford seemed to spark us last game. Do you think we have one on the defensive team?
Well, that's a good question. Right now the linebackers have not made any plays, and I'm talking about like forced fumbles, interceptions, things of that nature. The linebackers have been almost non-existent. And it's not that they're playing poorly, they're just not making big plays that turn games around or change the momentum. And turnovers are one of the biggest impacts in the game. And right now, it's not happening. I would have thought Malcolm Smith would have, made some plays by now that we'd be talking about. Devon Kennard's in a tough spot because he's still learning middle linebacker. People want to know if he should be playing. I think he should be playing, but when you put someone at the toughest position in the defense for the first time, it's going to take them 6 or 7 games before they can get comfortable.
Okay. In our kicking position now, it's up for open. You think the competition's back in?
Yeah, I think Joe Houston's in the lead, obviously, because I don't remember the last time Jake Harfman kicked a ball. Yeah. Probably in early summer training camp. But Kiffin said tonight that the competition is open, and he's going to wait and see what happens. I don't know. I have a feeling what their answer is going to be is we just won't kick field goals, and we'll go for it on 4th down. Pete Carroll kind of did that during his career, and he had success. Of course, he had Reggie Bush a lot of the times when he did it, so that helped. But, the other interesting thing is, as we're talking now, it's Tuesday night, and Kiffin would not name Alan Bradford the starting tailback for the game. And you'd think a guy that gained as many yards as he did against Washington, would be starting or be told, you're the starting tailback this week. But he said he's going to wait throughout the week before he makes a decision.
Do you think he's waiting to see how maybe Dylan Baxter plays or Mark Tyler, or just...
I don't know what he thinks about Dylan Baxter right now, because he gave him 1 carry in the game. Yeah. And that to me was very odd, because I think Dylan Baxter needs to play to make the offense multifaceted. And Bradford, I think, deserves to start just based on how he played. But I think he just kind of likes to keep guys on edge a little bit, push them, and not letting them get too comfortable if he has more than one player at that position. Keep the competition going a little bit.
And Baxter's had yet to have that breakout role. Do you think that's going to come up soon, hopefully, for him? Or?
Well, I thought it was going to happen last week, and I predicted that. And, he got 1 carry. So that's tough. Kiffin said it was because Bradford played well, but I really don't think that was the reason. I think they have a little bit of an issue with Dylan Baxter, whether they don't think he's working hard enough or they're just not comfortable with his attitude or something. There's got to be another reason, because he's very talented. He makes a lot of breakaway plays, and you would think, as we've gone to almost the halfway point of the season, he would have had a game where we all remember something. And he's getting less playing time now than he did, 2 or 3 games ago.
And now looking at Barkley, he had a pretty efficient game overall. Unfortunately, those 2 missed throws. What do you think his consistency's been like so far?
Well, I thought, he completed 14 of 20 passes,
Yeah.
so that's a pretty good game. I mean,
Yeah.
from a quarterback, especially Matt Barkley, I think he played a pretty good game. He's beating himself up over those two throws. Lane Kiffin's beating him up. I think fans are complaining too about those two throws, but I think I would take 14 to 20 from Matt Barkley every week if he did that. Obviously, the two big throws he did miss, but I think the expectations have been too high on Matt Barkley because Pete Carroll pumped him up like no one as a true freshman, started him the first game. So everyone has this idea of Matt Barkley that he's going to be the savior and the best quarterback in USC history. And, I think it's going to take time for him. 2 years, maybe 3 years. I don't know for sure if he'll go pro after his junior year if he doesn't show a dramatic, improvement over the next season.
And now looking ahead for the Stanford game, what type of game do we need to play to get a win?
Well, they're going to have to be physical because Stanford is a conventional team. They'll just try to pound USC. So USC is going to have to be physical. The problem with that is USC has depth issues, injuries, fewer scholarship players than most teams in the Pac-10. So I don't know. I think the game's going to be closer than a lot of the fans kind of seem to think it's going to be. I don't see a blowout, but I think it's going to be a tight game. But USC's definitely going to have to play physical and stay healthy. Key guys cannot get hurt, especially in the front seven of USC's defense. So, hopefully it'll be a close game for USC because, I think last week's game was a real morale killer within the team. But, they say today they're going to bounce back. So we'll see what happens on Saturday.
And Andrew Luck, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, what do you think we can do to hopefully contain him?
Well, last year they didn't do a very good job containing him, so I don't know if they're going to be able to. The problem is if Stanford can run the ball, it's really going to open up the passing game for Luck. So I think to contain him, they're going to have to stop the run first and kind of force Stanford to pass because last year Toby Gerhardt killed USC, and Stanford is still very physical even without Gerhardt, so they got to stop the run first and foremost. And luckily, Andrew Luck doesn't run as fast as Jake Locker, so maybe they won't have to worry about that, so they can just focus on his passing Saturday.
Any score predictions?
No, on Tuesday I will not offer a score prediction, maybe a little later in the week.
Okay. Well, this is Jackie Grant and Scott Wolf for InsideSoCal.com/USC, and we hope you're all watching the game this weekend, as we certainly will be.